It's Re-Up Alex.
Yo, what's up? It's B-Mo.
And this is the Re-Up Podcast. So, bro, what's your opinion on mumbo sauce? You fuck with it? You're not, I know you're not like really from DC.
No, I'm not from here.
So it's like, what do you think about it? Because I only got into it like even a few years ago. Like I knew about it, but I had some good mumbo sauce from like Carry Out in Richmond, actually, which is crazy. But this is like, these motherfuckers definitely homemade this mumbo sauce. He's got some seeds in it. I don't know what the fuck. That don't make no sense. This shit hits. It slaps. Carry Out. It's called Crispies. Richmond, South Williamsburg Road. Yep. Crispies.
Okay.
So what do you think of mumbo sauce?
Well, I think about mumbo sauce the same way I think about go-go. It's like your opinion of its quality is irrelevant. You just need to know its place in the culture.
Okay, I agree with that. Well, with the culture, I'm gonna drop some knowledge. So mumbo sauce is from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, I'm gonna butcher this name.
You might want to be careful saying that out loud around here.
Argia B.
No way
Collins.
to prove that, but go ahead.
Argia B. Collins
had
a little business in Chicago. Created because mumbo sauce is a wing sauce originally. We put it on chicken, we put it on wings, makes sense. But basically what happened was created it. Somebody, it became popular in DC and Chicago. Somebody else wanted to make it and they got sued because they were also making mumbo sauce. And then they changed the name because if mumbo sauce is spelled MAMBO, but pronounced mumbo sauce. So that's how they got around the lawsuit and becomes popular in DC, and that's kind of what happened. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's a tale.
Yeah. Also, you want to grab Dreamcastmoe? He's outside.
That's a tale of mumbo sauce. But I tell you, here's why I say it's one of those things where like the urban legend and the truth are so intertwined you really don't really know. But I will say this though, when the mayor Muriel Bowser said that she didn't fuck with mumbo sauce,
I heard about that.
Regardless of whether you like the sauce or not, that's why I answered the question the way I answered the question. Regardless of whether you like the actual taste of the sauce or not, you must recognize its place within the culture. And so like when McDonald's comes out with this mumbo sauce,
crazy.
I don't know if you saw it. I don't know how.
I know. Have they done it yet? I heard it's already out. I don't go to McDonald's really.
Yeah, so it's already out. And then the people of DC through so much of a fuss that McDonald's actually did a mini documentary on DC mumbo sauce. And it had nothing to do with the mumbo sauce that they put on the motherfucking package. I fucked up. Again, it is the some things
it's fucked up that McDonald's even tried to do that.
No, but you said like mumbo sauce comes from Chicago. Yeah. But like that's not the point. Like sometimes the facts of what the thing is irrelevant. Come on in, man. The facts of what the things are so much more irrelevant than the cultural importance. What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Good shit.
Feel free to sit down. I got. What's a good spot? Right in the middle. Yeah. Appreciate y'all, man. Yeah.
Come on in, man.
We was just talking about the origins of mumbo sauce. Really.
Origin? Oh, shit, okay. This is dope, knowing this.
What's up, man?
D-Mo Brown.
How you feeling, Dreamcast?
Oh, yeah.
So, it's a pleasure. Appreciate y'all having me on here, man. Thanks so much.
Having you, man.
Good to see you. This brother, this bad man. This been around for a minute, man. So now let's call me old again. God, now we both sort of came up watching things sort of unfold over the last 10 to 15 years, right?
That's true.
In DC.
Mm-hmm. I was about to ask you about that. Like, it's interesting. It feels like we come from like the same little creative class.
Yeah, you're saying that.
And I've seen you explode actually. Not even like just grow. I've seen you explode. And one thing, I know we probably about to get into it now, but Alex sent me this set of you at Boiler Room. And I was like, this nigga do that too?
Yeah, I was like, he's mixing, I swear. Like
I didn't just whatever calls upon me to get that check. we know
you can do it too though. Like
you got, and I'm not gonna get up there. I'm not I pay homage to the dudes like Alizé and dudes that I grew up listening to. But that's not me. That's not my style. My style is definitely more of a sound system. Sound. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking over the system.
Yeah.
I'm playing the tunes that I love.
Yeah.
I'm not playing top 40. And not
Thank
to say
God.
that any of our guys, you know what I'm saying, or you know what I'm saying, but that is what I've sort of been known to do. You know? So that's what's carried me. DJing stuff has carried me a lot. You know, has helped sustain me for the last 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, at least I would say for a while. Thank you.
What? Okay, so when I think about you, I think about now this is probably me being old. I think about the soulful, skillful vocalist musician, and then I see you at Boiler Room, in which we've had this conversation with another dude before. When I think about the Boiler Room and the EDM space, I don't necessarily think musicality. I think dance. I think groove.
Yeah.
But then I hear you singing, and there's something you said in the Boiler Room said you was like, "We'll gotta dance all the time. I feel like singing."
Yeah.
Talk to me about that difference when you walk into that space where it's like the DJ versus, not necessarily like against, but DJ against vocalist. How 100%. You approach the set versus, you know, just anybody else from the. I'm not gonna name no names, no shade.
No. It's no shade at all. I think everybody just approaches everything differently, right? Like
exactly.
I've been given the opportunity to travel and to see what it's like to manage a party all over the world. You know, over the last like 8 years. And that has like shown me how to, I don't ever want to be like manipulate, but to control the room. For me, is the most important thing to do in show business or like in the business. It's like comedy. A comedian can sit up on stage. You're by yourself.
Right.
You go off the deep end, nobody's coming with you. You know what I'm saying? Like they can either leave, they can throw a tomato at you. You know what I'm saying? But like at the end of the day, you're up there to make people have a good time, to enjoy the time and the moment with people. I've learned to do that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So when I said, like, I seen you explode, that's the thing I seen. Because, you know, niggas, I seen you across seas. I was like, damn, that nigga really blew up. That's crazy. I love to hear that you're bringing lessons from the places that you're going to. Give me something specific, though. Like, what did you learn where, and how are you using that now? Is it something you learned in London that was like, oh, yeah?
I think I learned most of it here. The crowds in D.C. are some of the hardest, toughest crowds in the. I've definitely cleared floors in D.C. on purpose, like
on purpose,
like.
I don't like this guy. Let's get a new one.
Yeah.
Give it.
Well, now you know what I'm saying. You don't want to dog the whole crowd out, but you like, bro. I'll drop a slow jam on.
Yeah. And
people will either be with it or completely not fucking with it.
Alex, I don't want to hog up all your time, but you know a question I'm finna ask though.
Yep.
What's your relationship with Luther Vandross?
Oh my God. No, it's a good question.
What's your relationship with Luther Vandross?
You know what I'm saying? You grow up in a black household, you'll hear Luther on Sunday morning while your mother cleaning.
That's right.
That's exactly what you said. Yeah. I'm pretty sure very similar. I mean, I would have to scroll back to the first episode, but
it's sure almost like
something
religious.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure you said
Luther,
something like
Donnie
Hathaway. That's Donnie. Donnie is who I'm a huge fan of Donnie. I love Donnie Hathaway, man.
Why is that?
The spirit of Donnie Hathaway is that of which I feel like I sing with.
Yeah.
A lot of people from DC be like, nah, you know, you sound like you on your Marvin Gaye. Nah, man, I mean, I love Marvin. But I feel like the way in which I'm like expressing myself is more in a Donnie.
Yeah.
What aspects of it
Donnie
yourself? I'm not familiar with Donnie Hathaway,
less
really.
Cool to me. Marvin was the coolest
sexy,
of the
cool.
Sexy. He was in Al Green lane.
Yeah, okay.
He said like Donnie was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Donnie was like spiritually broken.
Mm-hmm.
Donnie was fighting, killing himself. Not to say I'm fighting that fight, but I feel him. I feel him. Like shit wasn't sweet, and like him singing wasn't to get bitches.
Yeah, because I mean,
him singing was like him overcoming whatever battle or traumatic experience he had.
Yeah, because I mean, in that time period, everything was so different. There was like, you know, kind of we were talking about manipulation earlier. It's like these people couldn't just make their music specifically, it was like there was racial injustice happening. There, there was segregation. Like even, I look like think of what my parents had to go through, or like even their parents. So it's like that's a totally different dynamic to like now if you were making music and you're trying to hit the same goals, but back then it would be a whole different struggle. So it's like, yeah, I mean, these people weren't even allowed in the same clubs to play, but they were more popular. Sometimes it was crazy.
I love to hear you talk about Donny Hathaway, especially in relation to being from here. Because again, when I first encountered you, you were hanging out with music cats. You were hanging out with like Jenna Camille and them fellas. Like,
and still,
of course. And I know them motherfuckers like you are serious about the craft. And I feel like the old man when I'm like harping on musicality in this age of electronic music. So how do you deal with that?
Where I really got my start, one of my first regular spaces to perform Dreamcast music was at Marvin's.
Of course it was. Of course it was.
People who know about Marvin's know, like I used to do Marvin's on a Wednesday night, and I used to do it on the main floor.
First floor, little stage.
First floor, and I used to pack that motherfucker out. Like, there are a couple of cats who I know who could come in there and really do that. And like, this is a tough city.
Yeah, it is.
To get your bag off, you know what I'm saying? To talk your shit to people who got money. Now you talking about people coming into Marvin's on a Monday night, they coming up, everybody that's sitting in there chilling like that regularly. I'm not gonna say everybody, but most folks who are
doing fine.
They're not struggling. These are not people who like are living paycheck to paycheck.
It's a $30 cheeseburger.
They're coming in there buying a couple bottles of wine. You know what I'm saying? So this is a sophisticated, a very like musically knowledgeable crowd.
Yeah.
And like they are within a space where they want to come and see something new, or they want to come and feel what type of vibe you on. So man, I did Marvin's for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And they didn't pay shit. And I can go down on record, Mariam, I love you, but you ain't never pay me more than $500.
That's all. That was the rate. $500, baby.
$500 for a full band.
Yes.
Full band. So
it could be you or 6 people up there. $500.
It could either just be me, or and I fucked with how certain cats like there was a brother in there who was like UDC alum, great talented brother. He's singer and guitarist, and he would do it on his own. He would play vinyl.
You talking about Dante Pope?
Dante Pope.
You talking about a talented motherfucker?
Shout out Dante Pope.
I seen Dante Pope playing the vinyl, drums, keys, and singing at the same time.
Dante Pope would go up there and get that $500 on his own. He said, "Nigga, I ain't sharing this $500 with shit."
Man, this nigga.
He did a whole set.
Yes.
He did a whole set.
What year? Around like what year?
Man, this was 2016, 2017.
Good. No, those are good times.
Those are good. Those are really interesting times in DC because the established places in DC were up and running.
They were good.
Yeah,
and they were good.
For me, the 2012 to like around 2017, like that was definitely an era for DC. I think that's what really put us in the place that we're in now. It's like now, I'm always talking about it. There's tons of shows. Everyone's coming. It went from a C city to like B, A when it comes to like show tour routing, all of that, and there's no shortage of it. And I think it really came from, unfortunately, like a lot of the gentrification. More people with money came through, and eventually, eventually those people, normal people who are from there or are locals, become friends with some of these people of wealth, and they show them cool stuff. And then that's when there's more of a market.
Sometimes.
That's why Boiler Room played. Yeah. Where we got
Boiler Room. Boiler Room was here 10 years ago. The story behind that is I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
You gonna tell us? You gonna give us the tea?
Story.
Come on, I'm ready.
Tell you the Boiler Room tea?
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's just Boiler Room tea.
For your show, I'll do it.
All right, bad. Let's do it.
Boiler Room was here 10 years ago. Boiler Room was doing a show, it was a house party, and it was in a DC row house. That's what made it even more special. This was Boiler Room back when it was like, if you had a Boiler Room 10 years ago, you was up. You was big up, because that changed your life as a DJ. You know what I'm saying? Like that platform got to see you, and it still can do that, but it's a viral moment now.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Which I respect, and this is no shade to anybody who's done a boiler room, because if you get it, you get it, and I'm happy for you. But what it is what it is. It's a business.
Yeah.
Right. So back then, you had to know. They had a boiler room right on Kenyon and Sherman.
Okay. Got it.
It's uptown. That's about that's like right before you go all the way. That's not uptown, but it's like as DC as you can get.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. It was right next to it's like a little elementary school over there. Yeah, I know too, right on Sherman. The party. It was gonna have the dude from PPU.
Okay.
Which is like a cat who was just a vinyl head. Had him. It had Beautiful Swimmers, which is like 10 years ago were one of the biggest DJ duos on the planet. You know what I'm saying? They're sort of very chill now, a little, a little more laid back, but still traveling. They also had Protect You. Protect You was another ambient sort of like, but like all analog electronic group. Mm-hmm. And this was on one of those days, where the sunsets in DC were like orange.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, those beautiful
orange, and it was like the sun was going down. The whole living room was just orange, and it was beautiful. But the cameraman that Boiler Room paid to lead the day did not show up.
Oh my god!
I was hired. I was hired to be his helping hand, like his second hand. Right, I was hired. I wasn't supposed to bring no gear.
Right,
he was bringing all of the gear down from New York. This dude didn't show up until 11 p.m. and we started the party at 6 o'clock.
Oh, dude!
So we had the party. The party was fucking amazing.
Yeah,
the boiler room in DC, the original boiler room in DC was amazing. And for some reason, somebody in the house had the heat at like 88 degrees. So like it was fucking summer, moist. Right? It was bro. It was like fall. It's hot.
88 still too much.
It's hot in the crib.
You said it was moist in there.
Moist. Whoa, not only was the heat up, but somebody had the oven on.
That's crazy.
This is stories that never get out. You know what I'm saying? But like,
nigga, why?
How many people were there? Probably like
it was a good 100 something people.
Yeah,
but
100 people. Row house
is a lot of
row house with the 88.
It was at least 65, 75 people in there. Like 15 people on the patio.
Yeah,
15 people out back. You know what I'm saying? Like so, like they had an active flow of about 100 people around the crib.
Sheesh, man. Cameraman came at 11 o'clock.
Came in at 11 o'clock. Ended up doing like a little interview with them, but he interviewed Beautiful Swimmers at their crib.
Do you think? Let me ask you this: as a native Washingtonian, I'm not a native. You're a native Washingtonian. Do you think you can still do that party there now at 11 o'clock? Do you think it is still
middle of the day?
Yeah. Do you think it's still like you think the people of DC now would have it? And I'm talking about that in light of No More Unifest. I'm talking about they got Malik the Dope Drunner out of Chinatown. I'm talking about Noise Ordinance. Do you think it's still possible to have that type of stuff?
Technically, you can run a party from whenever during the day till like 11.
I mean, and technically it'd be free, but we'll see what the problems are. I'm just saying. Yeah. Do you think the culture of DC is still open to these movements?
I don't know if it's going to be as easy of a task, but I do think it's doable, and I see it happening all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that for sure.
Yeah. Does that affect your confidence?
My confidence?
Yeah, like when you see like cultural institutions in DC being slowly taken away because of the new population is here. Does that like affect you in any kind of way?
No, because I feel like at every tier and at every point in history, there have been these cuts in this number.
Gotcha. It's the wrong time, but it's still your number.
It's still my number. But we get chopped down consistently.
Right.
Right? Artists, people who don't have everything that they need to survive.
Right.
It's always going to be something that's getting my fault. That's going to get chopped down, right? So to me, I feel like, who am I to complain when I have the internet When my ancestors and the people who came before me who were creating didn't have a cell phone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, can I really complain? Yeah, I can.
You could.
But information is so accessible at every turn for me, whereas 20, 30 years ago, niggas was struggling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, and not just struggling. Different. They was, you know, and that's just in every part of their life was just like 30 years behind.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I do feel it in certain ways, but I tend to like tuck my tail and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
Because I know what it's like to watch people out here. All they do is complain on their phone. Like, trust me, like the first thing we do is we ask. You know what I'm saying? Like, I left home at 18 years old. My mother was like, "You can't sell weed and live in the house."
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? 18 years old, I graduated from high school. She was like, "You go do what you got to do," and I'm going to live with my aunt. You know what I'm saying? Like, staying with her for a few years, get my shit together. You know what I'm saying? Like, but who am I to complain, bro? Like, there's somebody who had it worse off than that. Somebody who didn't have a home. You know what I'm saying? Who like, or an aunt to go to.
Real
life. Niggas was really just like sleeping in their car. You know what I'm saying? I look at it like that. So when I see people online and I see them doing their thing, my first thing isn't like, man, why is it so hard for me? When I know it's a lot of motherfuckers out here who like truly fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's perspective, me being from here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that is, yeah.
I didn't grow up perfect. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in River Terrace. Not before I was in River Terrace, I was at Wingates. You know what I'm saying? If you know about DC, like, you know where Wingates is, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, can you break down the actual geographic location of like River Terrace?
River Terrace is over there by Langston Hughes Golf Course.
Okay, yeah, I bet.
So I like from the age of like maybe 4, or I think I was like 5. The age of like 5 to 15, I was in River Terrace.
Okay.
Before that, my mom lived on Alabama Avenue. She lived like Wingates for a couple of years. Wingates is about as far south
as you can go.
Yeah, we're talking southeast. No,
yeah.
like it's I was trying.
You know where it is?
Yeah.
Oh, it's right over there. Oh, it's on Indian Head.
Yeah,
is that Indian Head? Isn't that Indian Head Highway?
Yeah, Indian Head. That's like right when you're getting in from Maryland. Then, like if you went from Virginia, then you go through Maryland, and then you.
I love whenever you get 3 black men in the room. We're going to talk about highway routes. We're going to talk about it, goddammit. We're going to talk about highway routes.
Indian Head Highway, that'll take you all the way like Waldorf.
Yeah,
like
man.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. It's just crazy.
But no, you know.
Yeah, so like you don't become discouraged because you know that the other options. I've seen some things, man.
We've seen some things, bro. You see things growing up that you don't wish on your children.
This is true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I seen nigga shit himself on the X2 bus, and I was like, I never, ever would.
We were talking about the X2 last time, dude.
The X2, like, I grew up on the X2 bus.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing you can really tell me about seeing some shit.
Yeah.
Like, I done seen it as a child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And probably was just, like, laughed it off.
Nah, he shitting himself. Damn, that's sad as hell. God damn.
And then mad at everybody else. Like, I'm like, bro, like, come on, bro. Like, so I hold my filter and like what I'm able to like deal with, you know what I'm saying, with things like weed and things, you know what I'm saying, therapy.
Yeah.
Are very helpful. You know, so that's real.
I feel that, man. So like what would you describe as just like the DC sound, or what is it to you? Because I feel like there's a lot of different ways that everything's shifted. And for your music specifically, we were talking about this earlier, you know, we hear more of like soul R&B influence, but like you were saying, you know, you'd be at the Boiler Room, like obviously like dance music is a big thing to you. So what's like a DC sound to you, or like what does that mean to you?
I mean, the DC sound for me is always at the top. It's going to be go-go. I feel like that's always like, that's what I come back to when I miss home. I'll be anywhere in the world and I go on YouTube and type in T.O.B.
That's it. You know? Back home.
I'll be anywhere in the world, you know what I'm saying? Like anywhere in the world, and I will play something that brings me back here. And that sound is the only sound in the world that can do some shit like that to you. Because when you hear that, now I've been at LA and randomly, you know, the party in the midst of a party, play a go-go song. you'll have somebody come up to you and like almost damn near like thank you.
Oh yeah,
Like, I miss home.
Yeah,
you know, there's a go-go pack on Splice right now.
There's a go-go pack.
There's a go-go pack. One of my homies who makes electronic music, bass music, he said that someone on Reddit told him that, and he lives in DC. I ain't even name he's a boy, but he was like, yeah, my shit popped off on Reddit, and like 3 people were like, that's a go-go beat that you got on there, you sampled. And he lives here, so he's like, okay, that makes sense. Like I did get the Splice go-go.
You know what?
Nah, he didn't even say that. He was like, I think he used something else and he turned it into like a bounce beat, like inherently. And this is a white dude. He accidentally turned this shit into bounce beat.
Accident.
In a bass music song.
It's just in his. He's hearing it.
Yeah. But then he did tell me there's also a go-go pack on Splice, which is crazy.
That's what he used.
That's not what he used. He had the DMV pass actually last time he told me. I'm like,
he said he had the DMV
no, I'm like,
pass.
if you mix some go into some heavier bass music or some breaks, I would be okay with that.
You'll just see how many people are just like obsessed with this music, man.
Oh, definitely.
Why do you think that is?
Why do I think people are obsessed with it?
What do you think? Do you think it's like something like scientific? You think it's something like soulful?
Something different. From my opinion, it's because I feel like for me, a lot of people who are trying to make something that sounds like authentic or different. They're like still copying, but it's like these we don't even really know.
It's hard to copy some go-go music.
Yeah, it's really hard.
And not because I've seen videos. I don't know if you guys saw this video of the Japanese woman in a go-go band.
Yeah,
it went viral.
No,
but it was actually her band was playing the shit out that bounce beat.
Yeah,
because and I just went to Tokyo for the first time this last year.
Oh yeah,
these are people who, when you perform in front of them, you could drop a penny on the ground, and I would hear the penny. In a venue that's packed, that's how locked in they are to the performance. So when you see a Japanese band covering a go-go song, it's because they respect it, and they study and they're so into the culture. You know what I'm saying? That's why they say, me personally, I would say, Japanese culture is like the most respected imitators.
Gotcha.
Of like they can take what they like and what you do and practice it so much that it'll seem natural to do it. If you hear if you listen to a lot of like Japanese funk and
Japanese funk,
like,
jazz,
people who are really digging into the art at a young age, man. It's dope how they be on it, man. But you got to think it's because we give so much culture.
Yeah,
we give so much culture.
That makes sense.
What got you into music? Or in general, with obviously you were talking about, the soul, all of that things. Seems like more of something that might, been around you when you're younger. But like, is there something pivotal that got you into making music, or just getting more into?
Yeah, man. I can break that down for you for sure. Is DC always been sound, so I've always just heard shit as just growing up. So it's just got me interested in making music. But my mom, single mom, always just wanted me to do something after school. So you know what I'm saying? She was like, please stay out. You know what I'm saying? Like go, or not just like that, but like
do something.
She was working.
You
know, so she was working. She didn't want me in the house just by myself all the time. You know what I'm saying? So like she was like, all right, either you playing ball, you was playing, and I'm a fucking basketball fiend. You know what I'm saying? Like I play basketball all the time. But sports was one thing, and then arts was like another thing. Arts was what she really like honed in on. So that's what music was a big part of that. And also I grew up in a church, so playing music for me wasn't that far off.
Oh yeah,
I started playing. I started drumming in church.
Yeah, some of the best musicians.
So you a trained drummer, or you came up?
I started drumming and like percussion, like before niggas knew what go-go was.
Right.
I was playing percussion in a church.
Of course.
Like for the Lord, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's right.
You know what I'm saying? That's where I really get like my chops from drumming and like being able to drum.
Okay.
But what it really boils down is like I didn't touch a drum set for years, but I was really on just like the djembe. I went to Roots. So people from DC would know what Roots is, and more power to you. Shout out Baba Kamal. I went to like this very Pan-African based school uptown DC. Was on my thing. We had drum circles in the morning. You know what I'm saying? So I was on that type time.
What was the name of the?
It's called Roots.
Roots.
Yeah.
Roots. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of Roots.
How can it help our community, especially arts, music? Yeah.
Yeah, what is Phlote?
Yeah, Phlote's evolving. I think, at the core, Phlote's really it's a philosophy, I would say. I think we do think about music as art. We do believe that musicians are artists. We think they should be treated that way. We think they should be valued that way. And I think if there's anything that we really do is try to institute a philosophy where artists think of themselves as fine artists and make music
artists
as a discipline, not just to get popular, not to get famous, but because it's a life journey of getting better at creating what they're creating and saying what they're saying. So, the way that manifests itself has been in different ways, but right now, currently, we are a hybrid music label social club. But, really at the core and foundation of it, it's a community of people that we are connecting through music and giving a platform to.
You heard that, Alex?
Okay.
Artistic fine art. That's what I've been talking about.
Yeah, we've had a lot of conversations today about musical renaissance.
Yes, I think we're in them.
Yeah.
Oh, really? We set up this binary. Alex thinks we're in a musical renaissance. I think we're in an artistic depression.
Interesting.
For the very point that you said that you want artists to feel like they are in fine art.
Yes.
The specific example of fine art being that like fine art is like framed, this museum, this like a nuanced piece of art. Whereas like music used to be the status quo, that you had to be artistic, you had to be musical.
Right.
Now that doesn't seem to be the case, which is why I feel like we said it was like a binary, but essentially it's the same point. If artistry, the process of making art, is dying, then of course more people have access to making music.
Right.
Therefore, these things happen at the same time where you have a depression in people who are artistic. So I love to hear, you know what I'm saying? You talking about flow. I love to hear as a philosophy that you're engaging with art as a practice. And it's so, we just had a conversation with a guy, I don't want to put his business out there, with a man who just said to me that maybe the future of art making is not in the hands of the artist. The future of art making is actually in processes that allow individuals to get what they want rather than specific pieces of art.
I love it. So I think we're in both. I think you can have, there's two different industries happening right now. There's a DIY music industry and there's a commercial industry. And in the commercial industry, it's about making content that breaks an algorithm, that sounds like everything else, that is following a trend. Right? That's what everyone, I wouldn't say everyone, that's what a lot of artists want to break through because that's where the money is seen to be. But the real music industry is the DIY industry. It is the independent artist. The actual music industry is, globally 10,000 signed artists. There's 50 million creators online making music.
That's crazy. That's
less
crazy.
than 0.01% of artists are signed. So why do we think about the majors as the majors? They're not the majors. You know what I mean? If music was the NBA, there'd be 3 teams.
That's wild.
Right?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
and there'd be no NCAA, there'd be no G League, there'd be no European League, there'd be no varsity, JV, freshman. It'd be 3 teams.
Sony.
Universal, Warner, playing on 3 courts.
Damn.
YouTube, Spotify.
And their own rules.
And Apple Music. And then you have everyone else, right? Every other artist would be in the same category. And we know that there's a lot of talent in that 50 million that's unsigned. So, I think what we're really trying to do is prove that point by saying we can build a platform in whatever way you want to think about that isolates and highlights and curates the top 50,000 that we like. We can find 50,000 tough artists and have the biggest label in the world and have the most valuable label in the world.
Yeah.
And it will be innovative and about art. You know, there should be an art super brand, and there will be. And I think, you know, it should start with music. It should be Black owned, and it should be called Phlote.
When you say label, especially labels can be a lot of things. I know labels where they do artist management. I know labels where they just only release things. I know labels that only do distribution with specifically vinyl and maybe cassettes. I know labels that don't do anything and just put their name on it. Like what does that mean to you?
Yeah, to me it means I use label as brand, or, you know, more like a gallery. It's about curation.
There we go.
It's our perspective. That's what we deliver. And then we deliver the space to allow artists to connect and collaborate. That's really what Phlote is at a foundation. You know, we have a perspective on the ideas that we want to support, the artists that we want to support. We bring those artists together on a digital platform that is Phlote.xyz. We bring them together in a physical place. We've done weekly recording sessions at Eden. We just opened a space in Baltimore, 7,500 square feet. That will be an artist workspace during the day and a members only club at night.
Oh, nice.
And that's what we do. We put up 4 walls, we invite artists in, and we let them work.
Okay.
So you know that just in the history of Black music, the idea of label can be a little triggering.
Right.
Can be almost a signifier of distrust.
Right.
So like, right now I'm kind of studying high and low culture from this dude, Stuart Hall, who asks, who puts the Black in Black popular culture? And one of the questions that's asked is like replacing systems that have once harmed us. We cannot simply just like put Black bodies in the position. So how, as a philosophy, because I think I like philosophy more than label. Right. And I love how you're focusing on community as well. How, as a philosophy, are you trying to cure like that moment of distrust where an artist is like, you know what, this is not a 360. They're not trying to fuck me over. This is not exploitation. Right.
So, as a philosophy, we believe in fairness, right? Fairness is the philosophy behind Phlote. And we know that the music industry is not fair. Labels have not been fair. It's really an industry that's been built on bad contracts and bad behavior.
Yeah.
Right? And I recognize that. I don't come from music. I come from the world of finance. I come from Wall Street.
Okay.
And on Wall Street, as much as, you know, it gets a bad reputation, the fact is it operates on a code of trust and honesty.
This is true.
Markets can't operate otherwise, right? There would be no stock market if you couldn't trust the price that you're going to get. You know what I mean? So if I call you as a trader and I say, we're going to do $1 million worth of this trade, I cannot call you back 5 minutes later and say, actually, my boss said, you know, I couldn't do it. And no one would ever trade with me ever again, right? I'd be out of the industry. So that's my perspective, right? You know, I know the music industry is far away from that. It's, you know, opaque. It doesn't make sense. It's really evil, you know, if you really look at it. And so, yes, we do not want to replicate that. For a long time, I was very reluctant to call ourselves a label. I would use any other word other than label. But again, I don't think of ourselves as a label in the traditional sense. You know, we are a curation platform. Right. And the label is our brand.
Curation platform.
When we think about fairness, what does that mean for artists? That means that we don't sign artists. We don't lock them up. We don't sign them to any deal. We, you know, allow you to work with us. We put music out with you. We want to share in that music. You know, we have helped enable this music. And so what is a fair share for us and our contribution?
Right.
We think 20%.
Right.
Artists keep 80%.
Transparent, baby.
Transparent. Everyone's the same deal. There's no special deal.
50-50. I don't know many labels that are.
Right.
You know, sort of breaking that brand.
Right.
So that's not like ownership of masters or.
That's really 20% publishing.
Okay.
Because we want to have longevity. We want to have attachment to the assets that we make. We want to help those assets become more valuable, right? You know, we are part of the creative process that helped enable these things to be made. So we want to have ownership, but we also want artists to get rich. You know what I'm saying? Like that is the goal.
Right.
We're living in a world where, you know, if I'm a startup founder, I go to Silicon Valley. I don't give up 80% of my company.
Fuck out of here.
No one would ever do
what the fuck? I just got this.
I think something that I'm always trying to help with and be a little bigger on is like education. So,
Right.
Could we break down just really quick, like the difference between publishing and, masters when it comes to like ownership of a song? Because a lot of people don't really know. I mean, I do know, but I was actually in a conversation with somebody who I work in artist management 9 to 5. And we were trying to break down like what percentage. Yeah, Shrimp Nose is crazy.
Yeah.
We were trying to break down what percentage of I think it was on our master percentage that we are going to give to like a publisher or something on like a deal. And I was like, bro, I swear it's going to come from the master. And like all this, we were breaking it down. We're like looking at all these contracts. It's like, it gets confusing. So like for me, I mean, my blanket definition is like ownership of a song is 2 parts that you could have 100% of.
Right.
In 2 parts, it's your master and your publishing. And then outside of that is, there are mechanical royalties that a pub admin can collect because they essentially have different connections that can get these different buckets that you weren't collecting before.
Right.
I don't know if that you can.
Yeah.
You can go through it again.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's 2 halves of the song. There's publishing and there's the master. The master is the rendition of the song. This is how I think about it.
Since my man's coming from finance and you're coming from the artistic side. And I see that this philosophy is very anti-content creation. How are you creating like integrity for these artists to reach that level beyond content creation? How are you trying to like break that mindset that success looks this way when you participate in algorithmic success, but you can also be successful in our philosophy?
I say first, truly celebrating the artists that come into our space for being themselves. I've had so many phone calls of friends of mine the first time they go and they meet with Interscope and their dreams are crushed. I've had women call me after meetings and say, oh, they said I need to lose 40 pounds. Damn. I need to I need to be able to look this way.
Yeah.
And get myself together to be even close to what they're looking for right now. Mm-hmm. It's disturbing. We are a little over a year and a half. I mean, that was
13 months.
13 months, yeah. Getting close to a year and a half. I'm excited to get close to a year and a half, right? Of being at Eaton every Wednesday and inviting artists that I have yet to meet into the space and just work on music, just to be around it. Even if it's on a Wednesday and I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
And, I might just want to listen. You know what I'm saying? It's an opportunity to interact with artists in that way and to give them the space to just be themselves.
Yeah.
I think that really answers your question. That's really what we're about at our core.
And I'll say one other thing, just to your other point about whether it's the artifact or the process. I think it can also be both, right? The artifact is art. It's the outcome of a process.
Yeah.
So it's hard to have one without the other.
Yeah.
But I think the process is also an interesting, way to think about the, what is art. And for us, like Dreamcast said, we've been doing these sessions at Eaton for a year.
Yeah.
We make them intentionally experimental. We don't need to make full songs. We're just trying to get ideas out. We're trying to capture inspiration. We just want to get.
What a thought. Yeah.
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 You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's how we, to me, that's the magic. That's what I want to capture.
Yeah.
That's what I want people to hear. I think that's what really separates true artists from not artists, is to be able to get a take done that's honest. You know what I'm saying? Like,
honest. So when you start telling people change,
right,
so that you can make music, you're not making what's honest to you. You're making music. Yeah.
And that's my core. You know what I'm saying? I've gotten to this point by being myself.
Yeah.
And so when we were able to discuss and I sort of was able to see the brainchild that AJ was able to sort of lay out on the table for me and say, this is where I started 2 years ago. This is where I am now. What can you bring to the table? One, I'm bringing myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm bringing my ability to be able to go and talk to artists who are from the area who might not understand how to express the fact that they don't understand what, you know, a deal looks like.
Right.
You know, as simple as that. Even the fact of I grew up in a era in DC where you just didn't go anywhere if you ain't know nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know how many collaborations that restricted over the years, you know what I'm saying? And I look at how young artists today, some of my favorite young rappers from DC, you know, are not even making it past 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? It's the list goes on and on.
Yeah,
you
man.
know what I'm saying? About rappers from the area who, like, you know what I'm saying? We are literally creating a space where you just be yourself.
Yeah.
We may even get to the same answer in a different way. You know what I'm saying? About how we approach artists and talk to artists. Yeah. But it's really coming from a raw place. And so that's what I am learning with time. And I'm not, you know, I'm not gonna ramble. I want you always have these wonderful questions. You know what I'm saying? So,
come on, man. We're just talking, bro. We're just talking.
As much
but it's really where we are. So it's just getting into a habit. It is creating a habit for me, getting us down there every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And now we're in a space.
And consistency
now
is so key, man.
We're trying to put out a mix once a week.
Yeah.
Of nothing but music that's created in these sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a practice. For me, I'm so used to DJing where I'm pulling all different types of music from whatever. But now it's a practice for me to be like, oh no, let me stick to the Phlote crate.
Yeah.
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 You know, it's a new challenge.
To the Phlote crate.
I like that. So tell me about the spot in Baltimore, though. What's up with that? You said how many square feet?
7,500 square is fire. You guys got to come up.
So it's like a warehouse. What are you guys doing in there? Like what?
Yep. Yeah, it's an office building.
Okay.
It's an office building right across from Camden Yards.
Yeah.
We have a top floor of a 5-floor building. It's 300 West Pratt Street.
Okay.
And this is a vacant office space that's been vacant for probably 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, man. Pandemic vacancy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Exactly. Yeah. And exactly. This same condition exists in every city. You know, it's vacant office space.
Yeah, yes.
Which
a lot of people are making them into apartments.
Exactly. And that's very tough to do because of layouts and cost and all this other stuff. Yeah. And commercial property is it's in a rut. It really is. Mm-hmm. So we approached the landlord. The landlord actually approached us and said they wanted us to host events up there. Cool. So we said, all right, let's do a recording session in Baltimore. We have a bunch of Baltimore artists that come down to DC. And so we said, why don't we go out to Baltimore and do the same thing we do in DC? So we did that January the 4th. Saw the space, loved it. Artists loved it. They didn't mind the fact that it was like this guy. They loved it. You know, it's sick. It looks like immersive art piece in and of itself. Yeah. You know, and in some ways, it's a statement of where we are in business, you know, in society, post-pandemic, all that. But anyway, so artists love it. And so then we approached the landlord and said, look, we'd love to take this over and use it as a creative co-working space during the day and a members-only music club at night. Yeah. Right?
What does that mean, members-only music club?
That means, you know, essentially it's a place for artists to make music during the day and exhibit it at night.
Exhibit it at night.
They showcase it.
Like private shows and concerts.
Right, concerts,
so
events.
Can people invite other people, or what is the?
So you have artist members and you'd have fan members, but what it does is it isolates a community that really fucks with music, cares about music. So to the artists get 24/7 access to this creative space.
That's crazy.
Okay.
Members that are non-artists get unlimited access to events and exhibitions and showcases and anything that we do event-wise.
Is there a way for like people who the members know to come to? Okay.
Right. Yeah. We have to. I think
that could be a perk of the membership.
We have to do that initially also just to grow membership, right? You know, if you remember, like we want you to bring a friend.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So for sure.
How many friends can I bring? Like is that?
The details.
I want the details. Yeah, like I'm
2 on Saturdays.
One. Okay.
Today is 1.
No. That makes sense.
One of the banes of becoming like a practicing musician is this ability to be consistent.
Right.
Like y'all get to go to eating every Wednesday and do not only the discipline, but also like people are trained to come to a certain point. Like you don't gotta market this hard anymore. It's just a known thing.
You're talking about that earlier. The weeklies, like that's
the week is so important.
That's how you build community.
And so if you have a membership and you can throw your own shows, open concepts, That's brilliant.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Yeah.
We're getting to the point where we have the space. People know conceptually like what we're about.
Yeah.
Right? They know we are going to pull up, we're going to set up, and we're going to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our thing.
Yeah.
We do that wherever we go, state to state. Went to South by. We went to South by, rented $1 million home for over a week, and had artists from all over the place
Just pull up.
And create.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I didn't grow, and we had this conversation after. I did not come up looking to be around industry folk.
Very true.
We set up 2 different homes in South by, two different locations in South by we had. So we had artist locations on both sides, like one in Toro Canyon and then one in downtown Austin. That was like footsteps away from where everything South by Southwest was
like
happening.
what, 6th Street or
In that area, right? In that general, within a 5-minute drive from the convention center.
Yeah.
Right. So we had houses on both sides of Austin cooking up at the same time. We had the younger cats at the main house that we first set up to, which was downtown. And then maybe a couple of days later, we ended up setting up the house that was in Toro Canyon. The Toro Canyon location was beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? There's a trampoline. There's a full half a basketball court out back. I'm still a champion of that court. Right, but other than that,
House is beautiful.
Beautiful time, but it creates a space for artists who've never been. I had never been to South by before that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I went down there and we felt like, you know what I'm saying, there's no major label support.
Yeah, for me, South by is about the unofficial showcases. I mean, I've been to things before at South by where you walk in and there's no list at all, and you just get 2 free drinks in your hand, and then you walk out. Like there's so much money being pumped into it. There's so much cool shit there. The unofficial showcases are definitely the actual parties. And
absolutely. But we did have an official showcase.
An official showcase is even more wild. Yeah. So
set
that's the way you do it.
At the Toro Canyon location, had our own showcase.
Yeah.
And
with
also
Felix from VB.
Oh yeah, I was actually Shrimp Nose.
Shrimp Nose is wild.
He just cut up with VB. We were in Boston. Yeah, we had a studio session with them. Yeah, I love VB.
Yeah.
We were with Giles and Veda.
Yep, those are guys.
Yeah. So VB is running all through both locations.
Yeah.
And I think that's reality. The reality is we want to broadcast and highlight and showcase talent wherever we are. Mm-hmm. And we just happen to be in the DMV. So and look, there's this is a very target-rich environment for creative talent of all kinds, really.
Flow sessions can happen anywhere.
Right.
No, definitely. I think it's really important what you said with when it comes to the DMV, that cohesiveness that's happening now that's taken so long to actually happen and bring together, and it's fostered itself and now it's an actual thing. I think showcasing that and basically, allowing those people to get outside of the DMV area as well is like really important. So I think you guys have the right plan here, the right idea. And just like, it's really everything we've been talking about earlier. It's like, that's really what I've been trying to push forward for a while as well. Just from getting outside of my, city and actually going to DC, like I said, every other day when I was growing up on the metro just to meet up and link up. That's how I met BMO, actually, just at a party in DC.
Is that how we met?
Yeah. Yeah, I met you, bro. He was running sound.
I was running sound?
You were running sound at the Airbnb with 301 Icon. Remember you were running sound?
Oh my God.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I was. That's crazy. One of my only 2 sound gigs. I met your ass. That's wild.
And he made it really look like he knew like everything. I was like, he's a sound guy.
I mean, had to run them lines, baby. Check the gaff tape.
That's funny as hell. That's crazy. I mean, wow.
Oh man, we could go down that line. I don't even want to go there. It's too heartbreaking. Let me ask you a question. How did you get from finance to music? What What was your Plato's Cave moment where you discovered your philosophy?
Yeah,
Like, I don't need to be here.
I mean, look, I've always loved music. Grew up in South Jersey, small farm town. Wanted to get out of there. Was a really good athlete and really good student in high school, but was from a single mother family, couldn't afford college. So I went to the Naval Academy.
Okay.
I knew West Point and Naval Academy were free.
Wow.
I applied to both, got into both, went to the Naval Academy. So I came down to Annapolis.
Okay.
Graduated, was a nuclear engineer in the Navy, got out. I always wanted to work in finance and investing. So I went to business school at Penn, at Wharton.
Nice.
Went to Penn, graduated in 2008, worked in finance for 11 years, learned investing at the highest level. Loved it, but got to a point where I wasn't satisfied by it anymore. I wasn't really learning a lot. And so I was getting bored, had a lot of free time, wanted to start just making music more as a hobby. I've always loved piano and started playing the piano when I was like 6, 7.
Okay.
And so I was like, I'm just gonna go hard at the piano again. And then I remember it was actually the day I got engaged. Took my girlfriend, then fiance, up to New York.
Okay.
Right. So we woke up that morning. I watched the wedding at like 6:30.
Yeah.
Gave her wedding, asked her to marry me. She said yes.
Yeah.
We went and saw Hamilton that day.
Oh, wow.
And then
Like from.
she's from St. Louis.
Okay.
But we were living in DC at the time.
Interesting.
And then after Hamilton, I went to Guitar Center and bought an MPC.
Wow. What?
Hell of a day.
What?
That's a true story.
I'm half British.
Oh,
My mom's
word.
British. So.
Word.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's a big
You fuck
fan
with the
of
Kings?
Queen
Is what you're
Latifah.
saying?
No,
Okay,
no.
for sure.
I ain't gonna fuck.
I have the red passport and everything, but yeah, I'm half
So-
British. I never even been to London. That's my goal in 2024.
Yeah,
I'm trying to go to Europe. Yeah. That's my goal.
Yeah, Europe's fine. We love Europe.
No.
But that's what
I'm still tripping over from Hamilton to NPC. But you wanted
Yeah.
you want to immediately make it better? Is that what happened?
NBC's good though. No.
Hell of a day.
That's a hell of a day.
Yeah, so
I got engaged
yeah.
at 6:30 this morning.
Yeah, now I
I'm
got
in Guitar Center. That was the start.
You gotta start. You gotta start the day the way you want to.
Yeah, it was a day. It was a day to get what you want. You know what I'm saying? It was a day to commit to things.
commit to things.
Exactly.
May 19th.
And I remember she was like, "What are you gonna do with this thing?" It was $1,000. Like, why are you spending $1,000 on this thing? And I told her, I was like, "I'm gonna make a rap album."
Yeah.
I just took it seriously, and it was tongue in cheek. I wasn't really that serious about it, but I was like, "Fuck it!" Like, I wouldn't really want to get good at this. I've always been a big fan of production. Start going to studios. There's a bunch of other kids I was meeting that were interested in music, and so I'd be like, "Yo." Once I found out a studio session was like $100 an hour, $80 an hour, whatever, I was like, all right, that's, for me, working in finance wasn't that big a deal.
Right.
And I could bring these kids in and give them, this experience and just could be there. And so I was just like connecting with folks. And I had met this kid in a studio in Georgetown, like a year before all this happened. I was in there with my girlfriend. It was at the sneaker spot. In Georgetown, they had the studio in the back.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I go in there, looking at kicks. Yeah. Is that what's called? Flight Club? Wow. Go in there, looking at kicks. And they're like, "Oh, we got a studio in the back." And I had never seen it. I was like, "Oh, shit, I want to see this." So I went in the back, and there's this kid sitting there, Rob Middleton. Rob Middleton, and I were like connecting. He gave me his number. A year later, or whatever, when I get this MPC, hey, I want to put a studio on my own. Like, what equipment do I need to buy? Hit him. He's like, "Oh, what's up?" He's like, "Hey, I'm actually an engineer now at a studio down in Maryland. You should come by. It's called Night Flight." And so it's like, bet. And then at this point, he becomes Shy Glizzy's official engineer.
Oh, wow.
Because he's always in the studio just waiting for work, right? And then he just had really elevated over that year. So I went down to see him, and we're catching up. Is this first session, and he's like, we were making some bullshit music, and then he was like, "Hey, I want to play some stuff that I make with my friends." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." He played me like 5 songs that I was like, "Oh my God,
this is good."
Like, why am I not hearing this everywhere? Right. And I was just really impressed. I was listening to that music for like the next 3 weeks, and I had another session at a God. Do you remember like the guy Kalen? He ran District Sound Lab. Was another
District
studio.
Sound Lab.
Remember District Sound
All
Lab?
I really know, bro, honestly, is Midi East. Where Fat Trail used to record Midi East.
Oh, right. Yeah, Mid East.
I was in like Springfield.
Yeah.
Virginia.
Yeah.
I am not aware what.
Yeah, we went to Mid East.
Yeah, that's like some.
I can only imagine.
That picture in your head.
Shit that was going on in there.
Yeah, it's just wild.
No shirts. No one. District Sound Lab.
So District Sound Lab is where, District Sound Lab is where Gold Link recorded his track, and so.
Wait, which track? Because Gold Link used to record also at Henny's studio.
Gold Link did the one that blew up with
Crew.
Yeah,
Crew.
That was where Crew was recorded.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The District Sound Lab.
So anyway, Rob knew this, and Rob had never been there. And so I said, look, I have a session there in a couple of weeks. You should come. Yeah. He came through, and he brought his friend who was on all the songs that he played me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, yo, do you want to get in the booth? He got in the booth, made like 3 hits. I was like, oh shit.
Of course. Sometimes they just need opportunity.
Yeah. I was like, look, I don't know. And he's super nice kid, his name's KP Cannons. Shout out to KP and Rob. And from that moment, I was like, look, KP, like whatever I can do to help. I don't need anything from you. I'm not trying to sign you. I'm not trying to manage you.
Let me know.
But how can I help you do this for real?
Yeah.
And that's what sort of led me on the journey to start really looking at music and figuring out how this kid could create a business model for himself that would just allow him to create art, create music full time. Like, how could he get paid from this? Yeah. That was the question I was trying to answer. Yeah. And I just kept, I looked at it like an engineer would. I looked at it like an investor, like the music industry, and really tried to figure out, okay, if KP Cannons is an entrepreneur, right? Music is his product.
That's right.
How does he sell this product? You can't just give it away for free and sell T-shirts.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. But that's what he's expected to do. Just put on these platforms for no money.
Sell T-shirts.
And sell merch or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a fashion designer.
Right.
He's a musician. So at the time, you could only really use Bandcamp and maybe Patreon. And, I think those are 2 alternatives. And then I found out about blockchain and NFTs. And that's when I was like, all right, well, this is something that's pretty interesting. I think this is how, artists can make money from their music.
Yeah.
It seems like it has a lot of potential. And then it just kind of grew from there.
Yeah.
But that was, that's the full story of
that makes so much sense.
Finance to, where we are now.
That makes so much sense.
How did you get him to make money off of music, like with the NFTs and all that? Like what?
That was really it. I mean, there's really no other way.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The money in music is held by 2 people: the catalog owner and the platform owner. If you're not YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, you're not getting any value right now. And if you're not one of the labels or these, investors that are buying up catalog or publishers or whoever else, gets publishing, you're not.
I would say, money. The top 3 ways that we make money off of music in all facets of what I do is shows,
right,
music licensing, and selling rights to other people.
Right. I think the most attractive ways to make money in music is through publishing and sync.
Yeah, but it's a loan. You're betting against.
If you can license it.
But that would only pay back my loan because I got back X amount of money. For me, like I get X amount of money. That is a loan. I'm betting against it, and I get it back. And it's like, okay, like let's just say $100,000 just for the sake of making things even is like, yeah, you get that back, and then after that, they're saying they're going to, keep giving me X amount of a percentage of, whatever they make. And it's like, at the end of the day, the reason why you sign those deals is for quick money.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's, unless you really think that your music is going to make $100,000 within X amount of time, Yeah. Yeah, it's hard though. Like, but that's what I tell a lot of people. It's like, those kinds of deals are essentially a loan.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the way that artists are going to get rich here is building their own platforms or owning their own platforms or saying, we're not going to take fractions of a penny for a stream. We're going to take equity for streams or something like that. That's how they're going to get
hits the members only in the community focus.
Yeah, exactly.
The bigger you build a community, it's kind of like a musical digital museum membership. It's like the more you build that community, the more you have people who are interested in that situation.
Right.
And then you can do private things. So like if I'm in that motherfucker and I'm making a movie, which I plan to do, Call up Phlote.
Exactly.
This is what we need. This is what we got. And I get it. And the NFC, when I was in the pandemic, I started playing with cassettes. And I started making cassettes as sellable merch for music. Put a QR code on there. I did it with my man Yaj. We did a song called Technicolor. I made a little demo tape. It was red. We had a music video. We had the music video in 3D, old school 3D with the red and blue glasses. Stuffed that joint into the tough case. Put a little QR code. Yeah, beautiful situation.
Yeah, about that.
But the impetus behind that, the reason why I did that is because when I saw, who was it? It was Nicki Minaj and what's my man name from Miami? We the Best, Khaled, right? When they put out energy drinks and these other little bullshit bundles to sell their album, and the people RIAA disqualified those sales. So they said you can't put an album on an energy drink and call that equity. So I was like, what else would work? What other product works? Just sell the music. But you know what I'm saying? There's a tension against actually buying physical music, so you got to tie it to the digital world. So I get the NFT thing. I understand it. And what I've often said about Black folks in technology, especially the NFT space, the white people got there first, and it's okay, you made monkeys, right? When we get there, it's going to be we're making art. Right, we're putting art behind the situation. We're going to artistically use this moment to create equity amongst all of us. And of course, it don't make sense if you're just copying and pasting a monkey. But if I got a full song, you can't copy and paste a full song, my nigga. You can't take this song and put it on Apple Music. You can't. It's just illegal.
Not at all.
So now what I do? Now you got an NFT. I own the song. You own the song. We all got equity in the song. I think it's beautiful.
Right.
As a philosophy.
Right.
Not a label.
I feel like NFTs kind of went under though, or people still. There is
people are holding.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and people are still buying. We've sold NFTs. We've sold mixes. We put on mix every week. We sold mixes for $20.
Yeah, there's definitely tangible, ways to use NFTs.
Right.
That's completely.
And ultimately, we're just using them to archive our shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is a proof of work.
Their album came out in NFT before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was on all DSPs.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
And even if no one ever buys them, it's a document of what we accomplished,
exactly,
and our progression as artists in our art community over time. And at some point, if people really fuck with where we are, those early shitty ones are going to be super valuable, and they're always going to be valuable to us because they are just a product of what we created. So there are moments, that we want to capture, and we want them to exist somewhere where they cannot be erased, and that is on blockchain.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. That's like Master P evolved.
Yeah.
Make a whole bunch of music, make a whole bunch of tapes. But except those, we lost them. A lot of them joints are just gone forever.
Right.
We put that joint on the blockchain. Technically, technically, it should exist forever.
If there's an internet, there would be that.
We should be good.
Right.
Yeah. So is there any, large goals in the next few years or,
Of course.
Last,
Listen, I think we're just excited about getting Baltimore up and running. We want to do we want to open a similar space in DC.
Okay.
ASAP.
Yeah.
And then have one membership that gives you access to both, and really connect these two communities that right now still feel very different, and they are different. And I think we want to also elevate that. But that's the goal right now, is to get these two clubs up, prove out this model, raise some capital.
Yeah.
And then keep it going.
Yeah.
Because I asked y'all what your goals are. My goals are, we're trying to do some podcasts at festivals.
Okay.
Having a producer basically, reviewing beats, or I wouldn't say it's gonna be head-to-head thing, but kind of
just listening.
Like that, cool. Open decks, back-to-backs, for 30 minutes, not too much really talking, maybe 45 minutes total of an actual interview, and then maybe 5 minutes for people in the crowd, bring 3 of them up, and I want to have a live drummer open that shit up, play some crazy ass shit, get the crowd on it.
For sure.
I got some ideas. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
I like you guys I like thinking about you guys at festivals for sure.
Yeah,
that's why we went to Basel, we went to South by, we went to ADE in Amsterdam this past year, and we just want to be where the artists are.
Thanks for listening, y'all. If you get a chance to subscribe, like, download, and follow, we really appreciate it. You can find us on Instagram at the Re-Up ODCAST. You can also find us on Patreon for exclusive content. New episodes every other Thursday. Thanks for your trust. Appreciate y'all.